I got a headache, KG. I have a headache. I have a headache. I have a headache. What? Where? How did we get here from the last conversation we had? How did we get here? How did we get here? We wasn't supposed to end like this.
No, not this quickly.
No.
Not this quickly. Maybe we thought it might end this way, but not in the manner and fashion that has happened over the last, 24, 36 hours with the Mavericks. But hey, new beginnings.
I thought I was gonna have an opportunity to wish Rick Carlisle best of luck on his future endeavors. That's not gonna happen.
Man, he future endeavored the Mavericks is what he did today. That's for damn sure. He future endeavored the Mavericks.
I'll tell you what, you probably can't see it, but I'm keeping a close eye on this Milwaukee Bucks game back here to see if they take an L tonight. There's been talks on the broadcast of moving on from Budenholzer, and I'm keeping a close eye on this situation. I got my bird's eye view on what's going on over here. Keeping a close eye on that.
I'm sure Brad Stevens right there alongside with you, trying to figure it out too, as far as the head coach is concerned. So,
KG, talk me through what was going on at the time when you found out the news today that Mr. Rick Carlisle was stepping down.
So I had just gotten back to the house. I was running a couple errands, and I had just gotten settled back into my desk.
Man, can't even run errands.
Man, can't, because I got a notification from Spotify Green Room about like some Mavs chaos. I was like, what's going on now? So I hop on Twitter, and of course, the first tweet I see, Woj bomb, Rick Carlisle, after 13 seasons, has informed the Mavericks that he is stepping down as head coach of the basketball team, and the Mavericks will begin a new search for a brand new head coach. And I'm just like, whoa, like, wait a minute. This is a whole, I still haven't fully digested what happened with Donnie Nelson.
Look at this guy here.
Now,
bye, Rick.
that reaction has been either bye, Rick, good riddance, too soon. There's been a wide range of reaction for Rick Carlisle stepping down, but as we'll get into, apparently Carlisle felt that it was time after conversations that he had with Cuban over the last several days. So there we go.
I wonder what were the conversations though? Like, did he not give him a vote of confidence, or and I talked about this earlier. We were texting the chamber. I said, I think Rick is mad about Donnie getting fired. And I also think he's pissed about the story getting out about him possibly taking the Bucks job. There's some leaks. There's some leaks going on around here, because those stories don't get pulled out of thin air. I keep telling EA that, like, these stories, somebody doesn't just wake up one morning and say, you know what, I'm going to make up a story. Rick Carlisle is going to go to the Milwaukee Bucks. So somebody's leaking around there.
Well, here's what's odd about it, because, Cuban gave Carlisle the dreaded vote of confidence, shortly after the series ended, with the Clippers, saying, look, you don't necessarily make a change for change's sake, and the grass isn't necessarily greener, on the other side. So from that standpoint,
that was Mark Cuban talking. We didn't hear from Rick Carlisle.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, Cuban gave him the vote of confidence that Carlisle was going to be back, and had been widely reported that the Mavericks were going to go ahead and bring him back, this upcoming season. But the caveat being that he could be on the hot seat, given what we started to learn about Luka Doncic and Carlisle's relationship and the tension between the two of them, and whether or not they could get that worked out by the time you got to this upcoming season, if they could continue to work together. But I think Carlisle looked at his situation, especially after, the way things started to trend with Donnie Nelson and what the Mavericks direction looked like. And he said, look, the next person that's hired here is not beholden to me.
He probably told him it's Bobby V, and he was like, oh, hell no, I'm out of here.
But that's the thing. Any general manager that's going to get hired, is going to do a full assessment, I would think, of the organization, and they are not beholden to the head coach, the coaching staff, the players for the most part, except for obviously Luka Doncic, and they would want to bring in their own people. And Carlisle understands that this is a business, and he looked at his situation even with 2 years left on his deal. Is like, look, there are some really compelling jobs that are open right now, and if the Mavericks are going to go in a different direction, from a front office standpoint, and him with Donnie Nelson being joined at the hip, Carlisle probably said, you know what, I'll go ahead and leave too. And honestly, I like the move for him, to be honest with you, because now he doesn't have to worry about leaving this organization under the stench of, oh, well, things failed with Doncic from a relationship standpoint. He couldn't get along with, whomever was in the front office that he had to work with. Like, he gets out from all under that and gets to go into his new situation, if he does, with his reputation intact, which that's probably the best way for him to go at this point.
Well, last night I made the comment. I said new coach equals new players, and then I said, well, new GM equals new coach, because new GM is going to bring in is going to go get his guys that he wants to bring in. And I'm, looking back, like the way it happened today, I feel like Rick was disgusted with how Donnie was handled, and he was like, I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of that. I can't do that. You can't ask me to come back and coach this team after what you just did.
Yeah. Yeah.
And essentially, Cuban just chose Bobby V over Donnie when it all breaks down.
Well, here's the thing. And, Ramona Shelburne of ESPN was just on, with our guys in nosebleed seats on 105.3 The Fan. And
I am a bleeder.
Yeah, so you probably heard this too, and I thought the point was excellent, because I had kind of forgotten and didn't think about it in this way. But what gives me the idea that Masai Ujiri would not come to Dallas is this. And she made the point, and I was like, you know what? That's actually probably the biggest reason why he wouldn't come. Masai Ujiri is the face of the Toronto Raptors. Like, I have no clue who except for when those cops are in the arena and they won't let him walk past on the court. Yeah, that's an Oakland PD thing.
Disgusting.
Yeah. But I have no idea who the owner of the Toronto Raptors is. I think it's some dude named Tannenbaum or something like that. But anyway, when you think of the Raptors, you think of Masai Ujiri first. You don't think about Pascal Siakam. You don't think about, Kyle Lowry. You don't think about any of those dudes. You think about Masai Ujiri as the one that is the face. He's the face that runs the place in Toronto. So I don't think Cuban would allow Masai Ujiri to be the face of the front office for the Dallas Mavericks. I think Cuban's ego is too big to allow someone to come into the room, run it the way that it needs to be ran, and then be able to be the face of the front office. I don't think Cuban would allow that. So to me, that was kind of like, because I had already felt that, Ujiri's a pie in the sky. Like, obviously that's who you would want if you could, lure him here. But I don't think the Mavericks would be able to do that unless you're going to throw a significant bag at him. So that's the thing. But we'll see, I guess.
It says here that the Toronto Maple Leafs actually own the Toronto Raptors. They bought them for 100. They own 100% of them. They bought them here recently.
Mm-hmm.
So the Toronto Maple Leafs actually own the Toronto Raptors. Whoever owns the Maple Leafs owns the
whomever that is.
Whoever that is.
Yeah.
You're right. I never thought Ujiri would be an option. Was ever an option. That was just a name that was thrown out there. That's just one of those things where you throw spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks.
He's the biggest name who's on an expiring contract that if you're going to look and say, I want the ideal president, GM, like he's the guy, like he's the number one guy. But short of that, I don't think he would come here. That's just me.
No, the fact that I know they aren't looking for him is because remember, they're getting a hiring firm to find the next GM. So I already knew he was limited when they talk about this BS hiring firm that they're going with.
See, now you take the standpoint that you're not feeling the search firm.
No. Just turn on the TV. Just turn on the TV. He'll tell you who's ever what GMs are available.
Well, I tend to take the other perspective on it because of a couple of things. One, this organization hasn't had to find and look for a general manager in 25 years. Like the continuity that they had with Donnie Nelson is something that I think a lot of organizations aspire to be as far as that's concerned, even though obviously Nelson didn't have the kind of success in the past 10 years that most fans would have wanted him to have. But to me, when you're making a millions of dollars investment in someone who's going to be running your billions of dollars operation, the idea that you would want more collective idea, more collaboration, and more ideas coming from people, especially on the outside looking in, who can look at your organization and say, Mark, you got folks in here who say that, oh boy, Vegas Bob over here doesn't know how to talk to people. You got people over here who feel like you're not being able to communicate with people in this way. You got to get somebody who, one, can work with you, but more importantly, can bridge all of this, because you've got too many people feeling too many different kinds of ways that if you're going to have the kind of success that you want to, you got to bring in somebody who's going to, one, be able to work with you, but two, bridge the gap between front office, team personnel, and players so that everyone's on the same page. Sometimes you need somebody from the outside to look at your flaws and be like, yeah, you're doing this wrong. You're doing that wrong. And you can't have that from within, trying to find a guy internally yourself. Sometimes you got to bring in some outside help. So I'm okay with the search firm coming in. And plus, this search firm apparently has had some pretty good success. They were the ones that, apparently placed Doug Peterson, when Philadelphia. And of course, we know how that worked out with him being a Super Bowl champion head coach there. Trajan Langdon's the new, the GM in New Orleans for the Pelicans. And the most notable one right now, who's still in the playoffs in the game that you got on behind you.
What do we take the score? What's going on? Okay. Milwaukee's 53-46.
Yeah.
Brooklyn, a Brooklyn dub means a Rick Carlisle hiring before the week's over with.
Yeah. But Sean Marks is another guy that this firm placed for Brooklyn as their general manager. So it's not like this search firm isn't out here, having some success. So if you're going to find one and use one, it sounds like this one's pretty good. So I'm all for it. Now, the question is, do you use the guys that are recommended to you? Like that's that's on Cuban.
I got to be honest with you, man. I feel like Bobby V either he's going to be in the arena or he's not going to be in the arena. Cuban is still going to, even if he's not on the Maverick staff, I feel like he'll be working for Cuban behind the scenes, giving him the analytics. And Cuban's just going to go down to the coach, spitting these analytics, saying, this is what we're going to do. This is what we got to do. The research is done. Do it this way. That's what I fear. That's what I fear. Rather Bobby V is signed to the Dallas Mavericks or he's working for Cuban personally. He's still going to be somewhere in the shadows.
If the Mavericks want to keep Luka Doncic around and keep him happy, Vegas Bob would have been out of there yesterday, because even if he is retained, guess where he's not going to be? Nowhere near Luka Doncic. Oh, yeah. Nowhere near.
He won't be on the sideline anymore after this season. He'll probably be up in the F-150 club with me and Tovash as we go hang out up there. Yeah, on the second, what they call it? The platinum, the platinum level up there.
Yeah.
The second floor where you got to show, you got to have a certain ticket to get up there.
Yeah.
He'll be in that area with me and Tovash is where he'll be.
Yeah, and that's where he needs to be, as far away as from Luka Doncic as possible. More importantly, he needs to have that power, reduced quite a bit by Cuban to give folks the confidence that Cuban ain't out here, acting like Jerry Jones these days.
Well, it seems like he already is. He just let Rick. I want to know what he said to Rick, for Rick to be like, "I'm done. I quit." I feel like it's because of the Donnie firing that he's just like, "Yeah, no, I'm not with that. I'm not with that at all."
Yeah, I think it was a Carlisle conscious decision that looked around and said, "Look, I'm tied to Donnie Nelson, and if Nelson is, if Nelson is that central to how Carlisle feels about him and how Carlisle felt about Nelson, I understand. I understand him wanting to go ahead and getting away and stepping away now. But I think this is more about Carlisle assessing the situation in the direction that the Mavericks were going in more so than him wanting to try and stick it out and see if he can make it work under the new regime that was coming in. And I think it's better to get out early than it is to get out and get fired and have your reputation, messed up a little bit. So I think he did just fine there.
So we don't have a head coach. I'm looking over here in the comments. I see you guys. I'm about to get to the comments. You know what? As a matter of fact, let me just do this. I'm gonna put the stream key out for anybody that wants to come in here and talk with me and Kevin about what happened today and what you're feeling. If you have any recommendations for coaches, GMs, we'll listen to them. We'll listen.
Sure.
To them. We'll take your people under advisement.
We can't hire him, but we'll definitely listen to the suggestions for sure.
Well, listen. Donnie was my guy. I don't have any sources or I don't have any what do I like to say? I don't have any ties really to the Mavericks anymore. Now
you're
that
just
my guy Donnie's there.
Yeah, you're just
but that was my guy, we drafted Luka together, all those types of things, man. So I don't have any ties to the Mavericks right now. But yeah, man, if you guys got ideas, we'd love to hear them on what you think should happen. Some people, like you say, some people think this is good. Some people say change is good.
Well, I got to be careful because I was the one out here who, was one of the first, if not the first, to say that Mike McCarthy should get the job, as the Dallas Cowboys. So I need to be careful who I throw out there as names because they might become your head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. If
you think you got it, man. I'm the one that keeps making the comment. That kept making the comment. If you take Rick Carlisle off the Dallas Mavericks and put him on the Milwaukee Bucks, they win a championship tomorrow. And long and behold, there's an article coming out saying he's looking at the. I was like, oh man, I didn't think they would take me serious. I didn't think they would do that. I was just trying to make a point about how Rick Carlisle was too old for the team. It was my point. That's all I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to get the man a job.
It's funny because before this season, I was talking to a bunch of Mavericks folks that cover this team. I was talking to guys like Nick Anstack, from Locked On Mavs, and one of the things I asked him. And I asked a lot of folks, Bobby Carella, everybody who I talked to prior to the season start, I said, is Rick Carlisle the best coach for this team going forward? Because the way that I looked at it was you've got a young superstar who clearly is out here doing all kinds of, wild and creative stuff. And you really can't put a leash on that. You can mold it and cultivate it and, shape it and try to help, focus that energy and his creativity on, becoming a better player. But I don't know if this coach is the right one for Doncic. And as time went on, a lot of my feelings started to get confirmed about, the tension between the two of them. Luka at times showing up Carlisle for calling timeouts or not feeling like, he was doing the right things by him. And that's kind of what has started to play out in terms of their relationship and the tension between the two of them. So I'm ultimately not surprised that one of the reasons, that have started to come out about this was that, the rise in tensions between player and coach, because Carlisle has always been, tight when it comes to his guards. We all know the stories about, Rondo and Jason Kidd and, all the, those things. Yeah. Like we know the history there that he's real tight and controlling when it comes to his guards. But I give Carlisle credit. I think he tried to adapt as much as possible because you're not going to win the war between Luka Doncic and you. Like it's going to be Doncic 100% of the time because they only made one of them. They can go find another coach. It. You know what it reminded me of? So you remember, and not saying that the level of disrespect got to this level between Doncic and Carlisle, but I knew David Blatt's time was up when your man LeBron James in that series against Chicago was like,
"I scrapped the play." He said, "I scrapped it. We're not doing."
Blatt was like, "Yeah, LeBron, you're gonna take the ball out." LeBron said, "The hell, I'm taking the ball out. I'm the one taking the final shot." Yeah, I'm taking. And I knew when that happened, Blatt was done. Like Blatt was never going to coach another game after that season was over with in the NBA. And guess what? He ain't never coached a single game in the NBA right after that. So if you're going to, it's in the NBA more than any other league, the player is going to win 100% of the time when it comes to who gets gone first. It's always going to be the coach in these situations who gets gone first.
Well, that's what we do. Me and LeBron, that's what we do. We see things, and when they don't go our way, we make changes. We make changes effectively.
Oh, that's what y'all do.
Yeah, that's what we do. But listen, I got a guy who I want you to meet. This guy right here. He was on with us during the post game show. He's pretty good. He gave it to Billy all the time. This guy here. Okay. I'm dying to hear what he had to say. I'm glad we're doing this tonight because I really want to hear what he had to say. He's been a good, adamant proponent of it's time to let go of Donnie and Rick, and he's got his wish. And make sure it's the Kendrick. The Kendrick is joining the broadcast right now. What's going on, Kendrick?
What's going on, guys?
What's up? Do you share a birthday? I'm about to say, do you share a birthday with Kendrick Lamar too? Because today's his birthday.
No, I don't want his birthday. I want his ducats he got.
Big facts. Big facts.
Hey, I'll take those ducats.
Hey, man, you look like you smile a lot more these days. You look very happy these days. What's going on with you, man?
I'm smiling all the time, brother. Listen, hey, I'm a black man and I'm alive. I got home from work this morning, so I've got a lot to be smiling about.
Okay.
I feel you.
Well, what else you over there smiling? You cheesing about? That's what you're doing.
Hey, well, I told you the tweet, so I hate to tell you so, but I told you so. I knew that when Donnie was fired, he wasn't no mutual partner ways. He was fired.
I think he quit.
Well, he could have quit, but I think Mark fired him first, and then he quit. But when he got fired, but listen, everybody, Mark and Donnie and Rick, they're close. I mean, Donnie was the guy who basically interviewed and hired Rick. I mean, I think they talked about it. He interviewed him in his Indianapolis home, so they're real close. So listen, it's been 10 years since they had a playoff victory, so it's time. Listen, it's just like anything. Sometimes things run their course, and as far as this, it's run their course. I think it was a strain on the relationship with Mark and Donnie when it comes to what you say, Bobby V.
Yeah, Bobby V.
About control, and it was a strain on the relationship with Luka and Rick, and unfortunately, neither one was going to win those battles, so they were up out of there. But it was interesting. I remember, I don't know, guys, you heard this. What they talked about, I think Tim and Mann talked about on his podcast with Lowe about Zach Lowe, where he's talking about, well, rival GM say they really didn't know who they were talking to, who was making decisions. And I don't know whether this past season, I don't know, it just popped me in this past season. What happened in that Dragic trade? You remember?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
guys,
yeah. You remember? Yeah, when the trade was
Chris Paul to go to Miami.
Yeah,
we were going to get Dragic.
Yeah, the trade was basically done, and then all of a sudden, Pat Riley said he just pulled out and said, "I'm washing my hands up," because then we started saying, well, the kid that's in Portland now, that was in Miami, the one that can dunk. And then he got all of a sudden pulled out of the trade, and then it was Kelly Olynyk that was in it. And it was
about Derrick Jones.
Yeah, Derrick Jones. And then he got pulled out. And then Kelly Olynyk added to it. And then all of a sudden you saw on the Miami side, they just pulled out of it. I think that may have been what they may have been talking about. I could be wrong, but I think it kind of interested me when I hear when they was talking about, well, it felt like, okay, they was talking to Donnie, and then all of a sudden here's Bob. He's talking to the same GMs making a new deal, and it was just a mess, guys. So at the end of the day,
why that trade fell through? That's the trade that they wanted Dwight Powell, and they said no, we don't want to give up Dwight Powell. That's the trade. That's the trade. Dwight Powell was in that trade, and they were like, no, we don't want to give that up. That's the trade that it was.
Oh, okay. Well, at the end of the day, everybody, it's a big mess, but I feel at this point, look at the situation, that I think it's going to be Mosley and Finley. It's going to be your GM and your coach.
Okay.
I think that's where it's going. Listen,
You think they stay internal with it?
yes, because Luca's his his good friends. I mean, basically like family with Mosley.
And I said that the other night with EA. I said, EA, when me and Kevin Grant down at the arena, I see Luka more with Jamal
Mosley talking.
than I see with anybody.
Yeah. Even Rick. Well, I said we talked about that when Rick then he's with Rick. Rick's over the side with some other coaches, but when Luka's engaged with a coach, he's mostly engaged with Mosley over there, not Rick.
Even when he's out of shoot around, Mosley out there shooting with him.
Yeah, and I don't think about the coach thing is I don't have a problem, but I don't think that scares me more about was the GM session with Finley. I just don't want that brother to be a yes man. I don't want him to be no, and that's not, you do what you have to do, you climb in the yellow, but I would hate for that brother to be somebody's yes man, especially for an analytics guy.
That's a lot of fear that a lot of folks have if Finley gets installed as a GM, that he would just be, under Cuban's thumb and just do what Cuban tells him to do.
We're still gonna be running the Bobby V analytics. Whoever if Michael Phillies is a GM.
Listen, I don't care about. I think I tweeted another guy got mad. Listen, I don't care about him being here. I just don't want him on the sideline. If Luka don't want you on the sideline, you take his butt, take him up to the what did y'all say? Where you was at?
He gonna be in the F-150 Club being Tobox. He'll be in the F-150 Club being Tobox. Hey, we eat good in there too. You got to come in there one night. They have food, unlimited drinks, food, all types of stuff, cookies, all types of stuff. We'll take you there one night.
Okay. Well, hey, keep Bobby away from me. Because I'm not a big fan of analytics either. But I know it has its place, but not trying to run a team. If I needed something, hey, Walt, remember when I said it was a push and pull with how this team was running? But I tweeted you this team was running a Houston Rockets scheme, and then all of a sudden it's running the 2011 scheme. And I said so. Depending on where they go, I don't know if they're gonna allow what scheme Moses is going to coach. But it could be a different scheme, or it could be that Houston Rocket up and down schemes, kick out the threes.
You're speaking to the very fears that Walt just talked about with me prior to us getting on this show. You gonna allow yourself to go there, Walt? You gonna allow yourself to go there?
I'm just telling you,
Kendrick,
be prepared.
Kendrick, I am so scared to death right now. I just told KG before we started this, I am in fear that there is a head coach who just made it known that he is actively looking for a team right now to be the new head coach of this team because his style of play.
Mike D'Antoni?
Yes, I am afraid. I am scared.
And let me tell you something. That's why I put my list out there. I had Mosley 1. I had Mike D'Antoni 2. No. Hey, if that's the way they want to play, I mean, listen. While we talked about this all through the season, they play a hybrid Houston Rockets system with Luka. Hey, the usage rates, drive and kick the 3-point. But the only thing is, they don't have the good. Listen, that system. To me, it has its faults because the Houston Rockets couldn't even make it work, and they had better players. Now you can say, well, Chris Paul got injured and other guys, but they still couldn't make it work. But if that's the way they want to play, then it's Cuban's team. He can do his analytics.
No defense whatsoever. Score 150 points a night.
Hey, 7 seconds or less, baby. 7 seconds or less. Yeah, you remember that in Phoenix? 7 seconds or less. So, hey, I think, but I'm hoping it doesn't go that way. I'm hoping Mosley brings some more defensive attitude. I think that's what he wants to do. I don't know if he comes in, do they bring in another offensive guy, a new offensive guy? Do they keep the bench, the status quo with the rest of the coaching staff or something like that? I don't know.
I'm scared, man. I mean that those analytics fit Mike D'Antoni. Like when you look at it, it's already come out that offense they ran in the playoffs. That was Bobby V. That was Bobby V, man. That was Bobby V.
Well, what's weird about this whole thing is, the offensive, philosophy that, Vegas Bob is out here, trying to advocate for, talk about the spread pick and roll stuff with Doncic and that kind of thing. Like a lot of it, to his credit, it kind of worked. It's just the fact that it comes from a sports gambler who's never ran an organization before.
Exactly. Man.
He the one out here feeding these ideas to these folks.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like the stuff didn't work. It's that you just don't want that guy being the one, because the perception is that it took some dude who was a failed gambler at one point to come in here and help you run your basketball organization. That's the wildest part to me about all this, is that Cuban looked around at the situation, was like, that dude over here, yeah, we'll bring him in here and he can help us out with some quote unquote analytics and some offensive stuff. Cuban, I'm sure that Carlisle and Nelson looked around and said, like, what the hell? Oh, what the hell?
Like, what we here for? What we here for?
Exactly. Like, who is this guy?
Who this?
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, Kendrick, they ask you, who mans is this? Who mans is this?
And that's the biggest problem. Is Cuban's man, and he got the final say around here. Yeah, that's the problem.
And Cuban ain't fired himself. So it's just does this kind of people been comparing this to the Cowboys with Jerry, and you can see because on a big scale, but does this kind of remind you of this Bobby V? Don't this kind of remind you of John Daniels and the Rangers?
Oh God!
Don't this kind of remind you of John Daniels and how he came up? He just knew people he knew.
Same thing happened to our guy Ron. It's like, Ron, you the manager, you can't do nothing here.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Do what we tell you to do, Ron.
Yeah.
Well, I think the biggest problem in recent years with the Ranger situation is that, the Davis, group, they ain't out here trying to spend no money. So in a lot of ways, Daniel's hands have been tied, for years behind that group.
Okay.
Not willing to spend, money on dudes. So as much as and don't remember, as much as Daniels, should get a fair share of the blame, his hands were virtually tied by the folks that he works for. So, I run Daniels a little more of a pass than some folks do, just because the ownership group he working for, that ain't it.
Yeah,
like, they a little tightwad with that money, that they got over there.
Yeah. But I just thought that, but I call Mark Baby Jerry. But the only thing I call him Baby Jerry because he gets a little spoiled and bratty and emotional with his thing. What I'm trying to figure out is this. Okay. He was told he was fired. I'm talking about Donnie. He was fired Sunday, right?
That's a bunch of BS. That man was fired on no damn Sunday.
That's what they say.
That's a bunch of BS. He was just fired on no Sunday.
Okay, so what you thinking, Walt? Because I didn't hear it yesterday.
I think he quit when the article came out. I think he quit when the article came out.
So do you think he was the source?
No, Cato already came out and said he wasn't the source.
Yeah, Cato said that he wasn't the source behind, the story that he wrote. I struggle with it because in a lot of ways it makes sense that he would be the source, because what came out subsequently in Cato's latest piece was that, basically, Nelson was fired after a stalemate between him and Cuban, where basically Nelson was like, look, this Vulgaris dude over here needs to stay in his lane. Yeah. And if he doesn't, what's the point of me being here? Because you clearly have put your trust and faith in this guy over here, while my voice is getting drowned out by this guy, this Vulgaris dude. So basically, to me, it sounded like it's either me or him.
And Rick said him.
Cuban said him. Cuban is like, all right, cool. Yeah, it's gonna be him. And Donnie was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm out. Like, I guess it's time for me to go then.
And what I told you, what I've been telling y'all is what he probably said. He's like, look, Donnie, I hired this guy in 2018. 19, we were 7th seed. This year we're 5th seed. How can you argue this? This guy is bringing me success. You've been here 10 years. You've been here this long. We ain't even been out of the round since what's the name?
Well, yeah, because Mark can't say, because listen, Donnie has done a lot of great things here, but Donnie has blew a lot of big things. Hey, that Rondo deal, That was his deal.
Whoa.
That was his baby. Was that his baby?
No, that was a Mark Cuban deal. That was a Mark.
Okay, because
Cuban
I thought Donnie and Ainge were like this. Like,
nope.
So that wasn't his deal.
That's a Mark Cuban deal. Okay, that's a Mark Cuban deal.
Okay.
And Cuban's had, and he said it himself. He's always had final say when it came to personnel decisions. So any deals that were ultimately made, he obviously had to approve of them. And I think that's why a lot of folks are giving the comparison of him and Jerry Jones, because in a lot of ways, Cuban is out here making personnel decisions, much like look, Cuban doesn't have the GM title by name, but he acts like it. Jerry Jones just happened to give himself president, GM, and he's the owner. Exactly. So in a lot of ways,
remember when he was on? I think he was on G-Bag, and he said, "I do a lot more GMing these days." Cuban
you said that. You said that.
Yeah.
Maybe that was a sign of things when he said, "I do a lot more GMing these days." That he would say something like that. And guys, even the last exit interview, Donnie, was kind of weird.
Hey,
it was kind of weird.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up, because if you look at, I brought that up the other night. I said, man, if you look at his body language and the stuff he said, you could tell he was pissed about how they and I told Kevin and EA last night. I said, when you listen to his comments, he was speaking. Yeah, he was speaking what he said about Luka. Yeah. That's why Luka don't take it personally, because he was speaking about Bobby V. How he what he told him to do. But like I told Kevin, when he spoke on that, Cuban looked at it as like, not only are you talking down on my dude, now you're talking down on me because I bought this dude in here. That's my guy. Now you disrespecting me.
He was letting a lot of, Donnie uses tight lip. I mean, he tells a couple jokes, but you don't get much out of him. But he like that interview, he was letting things go. He just as much as
say that. Well, it's funny you say it, because as I looked back and looked at that exit interview myself the other day, and you could tell my man looked tired.
Yeah,
like he looked tired. Defeated. He looked worn down. And now come to find out, obviously, because he was tired of fighting, Bobby V over here, Vegas Bob at every turn, trying to fight for his own power that he felt like was getting taken from him. So I can see why my man looked like he had lost a 15-round fight, because he had. And he just finally decided to throw in the towel and had enough. So, I get it. I get it from Nelson's perspective. Like, why do I, a guy who's been here for 24 years, who helped deliver a championship, need to be fighting, some dude from Vegas, on some analytics tip?
Understanding. So, it's like, this dude who was a gambler was in Vegas gambling, talking about he knew how he know more basketball than me. So he can call other GMs who don't know who the hell he is, and that's been talked about. We don't know who this dude is. He talking about trades, and so I'm not even allowed to do my job. You got this. Yeah, I can stand how that would rub anybody the wrong way.
Not to mention, we found out Bobby V called a play. He calling meetings. He a damn German. He calling meetings. Who the hell is he to call me now? Gambling guy.
Can I ask you a question?
was just talking about that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? Okay. Is he all right? Yeah, he did all this, but is he doing all this for himself, or he doing this on behalf of Cuban?
No, you know what he did? He probably said, "Hey, I'm about to call a meeting, let Cuban know." Cuban was like, "Oh yeah, go ahead, do it." Donnie won't be bothered by it. Go ahead, do it. Donnie look like
now I'm scared and worried about this. Now you talking about the D'Antoni. I'm kind of worried about this. This why I came back and said about Finley. I hope that I believe he's probably gonna get because
if Cuban for real about it, Vulgaris is out. If he for real about it, if he retains Vulgaris and keeps him there, okay, now we know that you're not about it at all. Like, you really not about it, because now you looked at your situation and you said, damn, Luka Doncic then. Because we already know that him and Vulgaris don't get down. And if you decide to keep him there, you're looking at your superstar and you're giving them a giant middle finger and saying, I don't care what you think, because this dude is staying around here. Either you're going to deal with it or not.
He's gonna be somewhere around. Either if he's not at the arena, he'll be outside the arena doing some work for Cuban. You can guarantee that Cuban's just gonna come in and reiterate the analytics that he done got from Bobby V on the phone or whatever. That's all it is.
Well, I listen. Like I said, whether he's there or not, I just keep him away from the players. I mean, as an analytic guy, I mean, give. I still believe Moses is going to give Moses a sheet. Get out the way. Just as suggested. I don't need to be hearing about how you setting up lineups and who should be out, who should come out doing a substitution. That's a bunch of horse crap. You ain't no coach. You ain't even a scout. I mean, you a numbers guy. Stay in your lane, and there won't be no problems. But if it's like that, then it's a big problem. The Mavericks got bigger problems than I even thought. Just coming on with you is they got. So I don't know. I still think it's gonna be Finley and Mosley because I don't think they're gonna go outside there.
Hold on. I'm about to pull up Timmy, man. You know my guy Timmy, man. He does some great work. I love Timmy, man. Love him to death. I love retweeting stuff, sharing stuff. Anytime I see him, we have a good conversation. Let me pull up his comments real quick because I want to touch on this while I got both of y'all here. He says that Mark Cuban makes all the basketball decisions around there. He also what else he said? He says Bobby V, he held meetings without Donnie, but this most important one is the one I want to get to. KG, this is definitely what I want to talk to you about. During the timeout, Luka yelled at Rick, "Who's in charge? You or Bob?"
Wow.
Who's in charge? You or Bob?
Wow.
The star player had in the middle of a timeout say, "Who in charge? You or Bob?"
Wow, that's something deep right there because you just don't hop up and say that unless you've been holding that in for a while to say that to your head coach. Who's in charge? You or him? Oh, wow.
But I think that just continues to speak to the rising tension between Doncic and Carlisle. There were times at this season where Doncic would show Carlisle up for, timeouts that were called or those kinds of things. And that's just not a good look. You cannot have your superstar showing up your head coach, in any situation, no matter how talented he is. And for him to recognize, Vulgaris in that situation too, that just shows you the level of disdain that he has for Vulgaris too, which is why I don't care if Cuban thinks that this guy is on the cutting edge of analytics or, whatever. He has to go because you cannot look at your team in good faith and say, I'm going to choose this guy over what I feel like my superstar who's leading my group of guys forward here and forget what he thinks and just put his feelings to the side. The NBA, more than any other league, is a player-driven league. Yeah. You got to appease these dudes because these dudes will look at you, James Harden, Anthony Davis. And will look at you and say, get me the hell out of here. And guess what these have to do? They got to capitulate to these superstars and get them out of there because they hold all the cards. Doncic is not going to have the same kind of blind loyalty that Dirk Nowitzki had for the 20 years that he was there. He grew up in the era of player empowerment, watching LeBron James create his own destiny and all these other players. Doncic is to me, he may not come off that way, but he sure as heck knows what these guys have done, and he knows that he holds the power when it comes to this team and this franchise. So whatever he needs, whatever he says ultimately goes. And the quicker, Cuban realizes that, which I think he does, but he needs to realize it to the point where he gets rid of, Vulgaris.
Well, Cuban spoiled. We got already spoiled. Remember, he had 21 years of like you said, blind loyal to Dirk. I mean, listen, I keep telling people this. Luka's not Dirk. Luka's not a guy who came over here and didn't know how to manage a checkbook. It's not nothing shade thrown at Dirk. I'm talking about or didn't know the English language or didn't. Luka was already making money at 14. He wasn't a guy like Dirk working for his family's paint factory or something, and it was a shock show when he came over here. Remember, Dirk talked about his first year, talking about he wanted to leave because it was such a culture shock for him, and how he played and everything. Luka basically remember what he did before the draft. He made that video about some kind of music video talking about he wanted to be an MVP. You want to have 3 champions. That dude came out and basically basically touted his life for the next 10 years. So
Luka been a professional since he was 14, 15 years old.
That's a different cat. He will leave if he sees. Listen, you got Miami. Who's his close friend in Miami? Dragic. He always talked about New York. Got LA. You got all these other cities. Listen, these next 2 years, he's going to sign that deal. He's going to sign. He going to sign the rookie. Yeah, he going to sign the max. Yeah. All this I'm hearing ESPN talking about. You sound dumb. He's signing 200.
And that's been my whole point the whole time. Ain't nobody turned down no 200 deal for no other man.
But he signed that deal. But it's up to the Mavericks.
Player option, if you get that player option though within those first 2-3 seasons, and they still haven't gotten things done around him, guess what? I would not be shocked if he's like, all right, cool.
I don't think you get one in your first contract though. I don't think you
can. I think you get one.
I think because he got all these awards. I think his contract is different than just a regular rookie contract. And I think because he got all these first team. I don't think
he gets an opt out because that's the point of the fifth year though. You make when you get that fifth year, that gives you the flexibility to make the most money. So I don't know. I'll research.
I'm gonna research on that too. But either way, because he may have the contract, but he can still force his way out if he feels uncomfortable. That's just like you said. Yeah, that's just player empowerment. Just because you got a contract don't mean you're gonna sell him stay there. And definitely on the second contract, within these next 2 to 3 years, they need to do something to put better talent around him, or hey, Mark Cuban could be like Dan Gilbert writing a hate letter while Luka's sitting up there having the decision part 2 again.
I'm telling you, he's going nowhere.
Okay. We'll see. We'll cross that bridge in about 2 to 3 years. We'll cross that bridge about 2 to 3 years.
Look, Walt didn't sit there and walked off. He can't take it no more. He didn't sit there.
I guess that D'Antoni got to him. Hey, Walt, I'm sorry, but hey, that's the way they playing. They could be here. So they already playing that way now. So
my bad. I had to get my charger for my computer. I had to hurry up. I don't want it to cut off on us.
I'm trying to see what that deal would be for.
Hold on. Let me take a look at the score back here. See how close we are to Rick Carlisle.
Oh, it's 11-point lead.
Okay, no, we might be going. We might have another.
We're going to Game 7.
Yeah, we're going to Game 7. So we got another couple weeks before Rick Carlisle get hired as the coach.
You know what, bro? I think he's going to end up in Boston. I think that's his dream job. That guy was a Celtic, man. He loved it. I mean, he still
I can see him and Tatum. I can see him and Tatum working together.
I think he's so he's so in love with that how he used to be a Celtic. I mean Milwaukee's great, but I think the Celtics will be his dream job. If you had to give me a list, I think it's Boston 1, Milwaukee 2, Indiana 3.
Hey Kendrick, man, thank you for joining us. We got somebody else joining the broadcast, man.
Okay, man.
Make sure you tune in.
Appreciate it, man.
Next Tuesday and Thursday, man.
Okay, brothers. Y'all have a good one.
All right, man.
All right.
So we got another guy joining us here. This is Jacob right here. He's a good, big time Mavs fan. He actually likes BFB too. I wonder, does he listen to you on the fan? Let's check him out. Jacob, we got you.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me all right?
Hey, what's going on, man?
What's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
I'm good, man. You?
I'm scared. I'm scared that Mike D'Antoni might be my next head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. Hey, Kevin, I'm gonna let you know right now. I'm not going to any press conferences if he's the head coach next year. I'm out. As soon as the game's over, I'm leaving.
You're gonna be right there next to me, Walt. Quit playing. You're gonna be right there next to me.
Leaving the arena. I want to hear nothing he got to say.
You do that if you want to.
What's up, Jacob?
Not too much. I just kind of want to talk comparisons. I see a lot of comparisons to Jerry Jones, Mark Cuban to Jerry Jones, or the other guy that was just on. I forget his name, but
Kendrick.
D. Kendrick. He was talking about comparing him to John Daniels. To me, Cuban kind of reminds me of like a more outspoken Dan Snyder, who's had front office issues for years and years and years.
They both
And
have
when I see this,
they both have sex scandals in the office going on, right?
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's been toxic. It's there's been stuff there, but Dan Snyder did hire Rivera as the head coach to kind of clean out the organization, and they're trying to fix the character there. I think that's where that firm that we hired, Sportsology, is going to come in, and I think the next GM is going to be whoever they pick as the number one candidate.
Okay, so I ran this by somebody earlier. I was like, you know what? I wouldn't be shocked if Carlisle bought in Becky Hammond. I wouldn't be shocked at all. As a first time coach, he would let Becky Hammond come in here and do it. Wouldn't be shocked by that. I wouldn't be upset about it, but it just wouldn't shock me if he went that direction and said, "No, I'm gonna bring Becky Hammond in."
As coach?
Yes, as the head coach.
Okay.
Yeah, look, I would endorse a Becky Hammond hire. I think she is a fabulous coach who is extremely qualified and comes from a winning organization where Greg Popovich has put his stamp of approval on Becky Hammond as a head coach in this league. And if her first opportunity was to get her hands on Luka Doncic as a first-time head coach, I'd be all for it. I don't think they'll go down that road necessarily, but I would not be upset at all if Becky Hammond was the next head coach of the Dallas Mavericks.
I'll tell you this: I had a good conversation with her last year when the Mavericks played the Spurs and they were here. I think that was after Christmas. Last year they were here. The game right afterwards, and I had a good conversation. She's very basketball. Of course, she's basketball. So she played in WNBA, but we had a good conversation about basketball. I wouldn't be upset about Becky Hammond being the coach.
She's a brilliant basketball mind. Like, she's a brilliant basketball mind. Like, I would not have any qualms with her being head coach of this team if that's who they decided to go with.
Yeah. I'm all about it. I think we just got to get this front office fixed as far as just the front office seems like it's more in the news than outside of Luka. That's what you hear about the Mavericks. You hear about Mark Cuban, and then you always hear like some kind of scandal in the front office. I really think the next GM needs to, like the Cowboys, but the thing is, everyone keeps saying that Mark Cuban would not give up like the face of being the face of the front office. We don't know that. This would be the first time in 20 some odd years that he has to pick a new GM. I mean, if he's committed to winning, then he'll do it, but we don't know that yet. He hired a legit firm to pick his next GM for him, or to give him the research. Who would be the best matchmaker.
That's BS. I don't buy that firm.
Jay, you can talk to me. You can talk to me when it comes to sportsology. Don't worry about Walt, because I'm right there with you. I'm okay with sportsology.
I'm not buying that firm. He already know he want to make his GM. He's just using it as an excuse to say, "Oh, we saw other candidates. We just didn't like them. We knew we liked this guy better." I know. I went to school with people like Mark Cuban. I know where we're going here.
Well, I mean, like, for example, look at what the Houston Texans did. We find out after they picked their GM that they paid this firm hundreds of thousands of dollars and then didn't even go with their top 5 candidates or whatever it was. And look how much trouble they are in. Look at Deshaun Watson and he should be on the cover of Madden.
Talk to him. Talk to Walt. Talk to Walt. Talk to him.
This is just. I mean, there's no point in hiring a firm if you're not going to take them seriously. I think it's just. I think you can get the face of the Toronto Raptors, Mary, or you can go with whoever they select for you. And I would rather do that than just pick who you think would be the best candidate out there, the most popular candidate.
I got your next GM for you. His name is Bobby V. Bobby V is your next GM of the Dallas Mavericks. And I say that I'm not saying he's gonna be officially be. It don't matter who's the GM. You still gonna be answering to Bobby V when it's over with. If Bobby V bringing analytics to whatever GM is saying, this is what we doing tonight, and you gonna run this way. Why? Because Mark said so.
Walt just roots for chaos. He just roots for chaos. That's
I'm never.
Yes.
I've watched Walt for the last couple of years, so I know where he's coming from. But you're gonna
be speaking the truth, though. I'm not lying to anything I'm saying. You know how this works.
But the truth is, though, if that does happen, you're gonna see Luka in another jersey.
Exactly.
Listen, okay. Well, Luka's gonna sign $200 million. Okay. Now it's the next contract y'all might need to be worried about. That's the one you need to be worried about. You need to be really worried about that second contract. First one, he'll be here 5 years. After 5 years, y'all.
Well,
that's
the thing. That's the thing that people keep forgetting, man. Even if he does sign the rookie max extension, if he gives this organization 2-3 years to try to build around him, and they still haven't done it, guess what? He's going to ask out of here, and it doesn't matter if he's on the rookie extension or not. He can say, "Get me out of here," and guess what they got to do? They got to get him out.
Okay, I'm going to tell you. Okay, well, now things have changed. Now you got a new coach, so that bought you an extra two or 3 years. Because when the coach comes in and rebuilds it, when a new coach comes in, first off, he's got to come in and do talent evaluation his first year. He got to see who fits with who can be here, who I want. So that's going to take you about a good 3 years right there.
Which gives Doncic even more reason why he doesn't need to wait around. Like how much more time does he got to wait on everybody else around him to get their act together when he's clearly ready to win right now and try to get he dragged this team to 7 games in the first round against the Clippers.
Hold on a second, pal. See,
what lie did I tell? What lie did I tell?
See, I know what you're doing. You give Step Back Jack all this credit. That's what you do.
What lie did I tell?
That's what you're doing.
What lie did I tell?
You giving Step Back Jack all that credit.
Tell him what lie did I tell?
Well, in game 1 and 2, the one they won, the whole team had played that game. Remember, everybody had double figures that game, and he had about 30 points.
Tim Hardaway was cool, 11-17 from 3 in the first couple games. Like, he was cool. But let's just be real about it. Doncic, if Kawhi Leonard doesn't go full Kawhi on him in this playoff series, Luka Doncic is the best player on the floor in that series. There is no reason why this team should have gone to 7 games the way that this team at times played during the second half of that series. They were awful. Cleveland was awful. Dorian was bad. Luka dragged them during the second half of that series.
That was all Bobby V's. And that was all Bobby
2 years in a row that Kleber was awful.
Thank you.
That's 2 years in a row. Look,
because Walt tried to make the point earlier about, this team's on an upward trajectory. They were, a 7 seed last year. They were a 5th seed this year. Yeah. It wasn't because any of the parts around Doncic changed. It's because Doncic got better as a player himself and took the rest of them dudes along with him. The rest of this year, like don't get me wrong, I'm being facetious a little bit when I say it.
How dare you dump on KP's 20 points a game this season?
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm being a little facetious when I say it, but you get my point.
Yeah,
Doncic, his point, his continued drastic improvement helped this team get to where it went this year. And if you had a little bit more better of a roster around him, we're talking about a team that could have been a 3 or 4 seed. And you've seen what guys have done with better help around him. Like put Luka Doncic on the Utah Jazz. That's probably the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. Like that's what we're talking about here with better help around.
Step Back Jack did his thing.
Well, if you put Luka Doncic on the Houston Rockets roster, you trade everybody except Luka, keep Luka on the Mavericks, and trade everybody and get everyone in the Houston roster in a Maverick uniform. You win that series. In 6.
See, that scares me. Whenever I hear Houston, I just hear the words Houston, and I just keep thinking of one coach, man. I'm sorry. I'm in a panic right now, okay? I do not want Mike D'Antoni as the next head coach. And with Bobby V's analytics, Kevin, they fit Mike D'Antoni. They fit him.
I bet you he would have liked playing for Steven Silas this year, though. I bet you he would love playing for him.
I bet you would have. But still, right now, I'm in a panic mode right now. I feel there's something in my spirit that tells me Mike D'Antoni, I need somebody to hire him quick now. I need somebody to hire him quick tomorrow. I need somebody to hire him tomorrow so we just get this out of the way. I don't want him lingering around because the longer he lingers around, the more Cuban is like, you know what, that could work. And he's already been to Texas. I don't want this man. I don't want this.
I can't picture D'Antoni being the Mavericks coach. Just can't.
I can't either.
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. I hope not, but I'm telling you, the way this Bobby V dude, his analytics, that whole spreading the floor deal in the playoffs, that was his madness. You know who does that too? D'Antoni.
Walt's so scared. He's so scared of D'Antoni coming in.
I'm scared, man. Listen, man. I'm shaking, man.
Don't worry, Walt. It ain't gonna be.
I'm not going to any press conferences next year if he's the head coach. I'm not. I don't want any. I don't want to hear. I don't need any sound bites from him. I'll just get them from you, KG. I'm not going.
That's all right. He'll be
I'll
right there with me.
I'll listen to it on the gray area on YouTube. That's how I do it.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate the plug. Yeah.
I don't know, Walt. I feel like you'll convince yourself into liking him.
No.
He'll be right there with me.
You've been calling for Rick Carlisle's job for the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
I see you posting pictures with him on Twitter saying, "I'm gonna miss you, buddy," stuff like that. So I mean, like
was not me. That was not me. That was Tovash, and I posted that because he's a stooge. Okay. Ever since I have wanted Rick Carlisle fired, he's always coming in the studio. We don't need to fire Rick Carlisle, and I kept trying to figure out why does he not want Rick Carlisle fired? What is it that we've all tried to figure out? And then today, Rick Carlisle get fired. And here it is, a picture of him and Rick Carlisle. That's why I posted it. And I said, you stooge. You stooge. This is why you come in the studio and defend him every week, because you got a picture with him. That's why you do it. I knew it was something fishy this whole time. At Tovash 10, go over there to the page, look at it. Follow that account, too. It's a good account. You might want to follow that. But look at that picture. He's smiling because he got a picture of Rick Carlisle. I knew something was up.
I saw that picture. It's a nice picture.
But you got to watch the show. Anytime we say that about Rick Carlisle, it's, oh, no, we can't fire Rick. Rick's this, Rick's that. And I'm like, man, it's been 10 years and you still talking about, well, you got a championship. That bought us an extra year. And I'm like, what is it with Rick? And now today, the evidence is out. The evidence came through. And I found out what it is. Now, also on that fire, Rick Carlisle, yes, I did want Rick Carlisle fired. Did I want Rick Carlisle to leave like this? No, I didn't. This is not right for the way Rick Carlisle left today.
I think Rick Carlisle thought it was best to quit than to get fired when they hire a new GM.
Ooh, that's a really good point.
I think that's what this is down to.
That's a really good point.
I'm right there with you. The new GM is not beholden to keeping Rick Carlisle around. There's better situations for him where he could go, get a fresh start somewhere else and not have to worry about his reputation getting sullied or discredited by having these tensions continue to rise with Luka Doncic and then not working out, and then the GM having to fire, no GM wants to come in and have to be the guy that fires the dude that brought the only title to, a franchise if he doesn't have to do it. And Carlisle looked at the situation and he probably was like, look, this organization is going in a different direction. And guess what? That's okay. I don't have to be a part of it. I can move on. Donnie Nelson's moved on. I can move on too, and you all can do what you feel like you need to do, and I'll go do my own thing. I commend Carlisle. Well, yeah, there's that too. But I commend Carlisle for making that decision for himself and looking around like, yeah, I'll go ahead and move on now, because I think honestly, when we look back on it, it was the best thing for everyone at this point. If Nelson goes, Carlisle can go ahead and go to start over clean and move forward from there with a new start and hopefully a regime that will be able to build around Doncic. And Doncic will like and respect whomever they bring in, as coach and as GM, and everybody can get along from there. So I commend Carlisle for what he did, honestly.
I did too. I think it was a business decision on his part. I don't think it was personal with Cubes at all. That's what I got from it. But the other thing I wanted to bring up too is that if whoever this next GM is, are they going to see that Kristaps Porzingis is more of a liability on this team, or are they going to try to find a coach that can bring him in and get the most out of him? Are they going to try to get rid of him, or are they going to try to find a way to keep him? That's my biggest concern too.
I just wrote this tree down for KG a few minutes ago. New GM means new coach. New coach means new players. New players means you about to go back into the draft.
Well, look, I'll say this when it comes to Porzingis. And again, it's the same thing with any general manager that comes in and wants to bring in his or her own people to, make changes on coaching staff. It's the same with players. This new president and general manager will not be beholden to any of these players except obviously Luka Doncic. So Porzingis, Hardaway, Josh Richardson, everybody is now put on notice, because whomever comes in can theoretically look at their situation and say, now, why are we paying Porzingis $100 million for the next 3 years? And he plays how many games a year? And he's unavailable how many games? Like, why are we? that GM has that latitude now to make whatever changes he or she feels needs to be done to build around Doncic. And if that means Porzingis goes, okay. If that means Hardaway goes, because I found this ironic. How have the Mavericks been able to put all of the Porzingis stuff on the back burner? Because that was the biggest storyline coming into this offseason. What in the world are they going to do with Kristaps Porzingis? Are they going to keep him? Are they going to trade him? Nobody has a thought about Porzingis right now because they don't have a coach, nor do they have a general manager now. So the Porzingis point is all mute now until they figure out who's going to run the show. And then you can decide what you're going to do with Porzingis. So I just find it ironic that Porzingis gets let off the hook by all the rest of the drama that's been taking place with this team.
Okay, I'll tell you this. If Jamal Mosley, the coach, he stays. But, however, though, if the new coach they bring in, like I said, his first year is talent evaluating, okay? So in his first year, he's going to come in and see who all can play, who all can be here or whatever. That's his first year. Is his first year of talent evaluating. So I give, if it's a new coach and Porzingis is not traded before the offseason, I give Porzingis to the trade deadline. If KP comes back as the same player he was this season by the trade deadline, he gone. If he's made no improvement or he looks the exact same and the trade deadline's coming up, he up out of here. But if he shows improvement and shows he's balling and can do, he'll be here. That's all he got to do. If he doesn't get traded by the time the season starts, all he's got to do is make it to the trade. He's got to be improved by the trade deadline, and we got nothing to worry about.
Well, he is saying all the right things. Let's see if he backs it up.
He is saying all the right things. But like I said, this first coach, his first year is coming out and seeing who fits where. Can this guy go? Can he go? No, I don't want him. I want him. And then the next year, you're gonna see. They're about to flip the roster over again for the umpteenth time.
It's gonna be weird if we have to take a couple steps back to get a step ahead.
You are gonna have to with the new head coach though, because a new head coach is going to go get his guys.
Well, you also got Golden State coming back healthy too. You got the Lakers coming back healthy.
KG,
so
KG, you didn't know? You didn't know already? I mean, cut you off, Jacob. I'm already called Vegas, taking out a little bet or whatever.
Uh-huh.
The Golden State Warriors will win the championship next year. I've already got that booked.
Well, like I said, you're probably going to be competing for that 5th, 6th, and 7th seed again this year just because everyone's coming back healthy.
Yeah, and I kept saying with the Porzingis, if you get rid of Porzingis, well, now that Rick's gone, doesn't matter. I was saying that if you're going to trade Porzingis, the next trade you have to make has to catapult you to the next level. If it's not catapulting you to the next level, there's no point in trading. Although I do think they can call up Toronto and get my guy Spicy P, KG. I love Spicy P.
I know
right here
you
with Luka.
do.
Yeah, right here with Luka.
Hey, Jacob, you just want a whole Toronto Raptors reunion down here.
Thank you for joining us, man. Anytime, man. You're welcome.
I appreciate it, guys. It was nice meeting y'all face to face this time.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, Spicy P. I would love some Spicy P, man. But let's put a bow on this thing before we get up out of here, man. Today, as I said a few minutes ago, yes, I have been a fire Rick Carlisle guy, but like I said, it was only because I didn't feel like, there were times where I feel like the team wasn't buying into his message. Well, now we feel like he wasn't buying into Bobby V's message at this point in time. They weren't when they were going through the losing streak, you could just see like defeat and dejectedness. And it was like he would come in here, he would come in the press conference and you would ask him questions and then be like, man, what are you saying to these guys? What are they not doing? Why are they not buying in? What's going on? He would give us his answer, whatever. And I just feel like there were times the team wasn't buying in. I was like, it's time for Rick to go. I honestly feel like when Dirk left, it was time for Rick to go. Rick shouldn't have came in, but I get it. He had to try to show that he can coach young guys to other people, that he's able to do that. But like I said today, I don't like the way Rick Carlisle left. I didn't want Rick Carlisle to leave that way. I was okay with Rick Carlisle coming back because like I'm like you, like I've been telling you, I saw the team going this way. I saw them going upward. Like they went from a 7th to a 5th seed, and I felt like letting Rick go now, you're going to be taking a step back now. I don't think it's going to be a 5th or a 6th seed next year.
Well, I mean, I think at some point, though, somebody has to be held accountable for 10 years of a lack of – I've never seen an organization milk a title the way that the Mavericks have for the past decade. like any other major market that has gone through this lack of success. But look, you made the playoffs a few times, but you literally have not won a playoff series since winning that title a decade ago. Somebody has to go at that point. And, I thought it was just going to be, all right, fine. You moved on from Donnie Nelson. Okay, cool. I was happy with just that. If you decided that Donnie Nelson was the guy that needed to go and you needed to make a change, all right, cool. But Carlisle, I think, again, looked at his situation and said, this is clearly a franchise that's going in a different direction. And I don't have a problem with the way that he left, especially knowing that there are situations for him right now that if he decides to stay in coaching and take another job, that he'll be able to walk into right away and feel good about him. Or if he takes a year off and decides to wait for another job to come open, okay, great. But more importantly, now this organization has a completely clean slate to work with a superstar there that they can build around. It is up to Mark Cuban to put himself in the best position to listen to this firm that he's brought in here, make the best decision based on who is going to best fit to work with him, but more importantly, be able to build around Luka Doncic, and then finding a head coach that Luka Doncic can be able. He needs to find his Rick Carlisle. Dirk had his Rick Carlisle with Rick Carlisle. Now it's time for this organization to find the next Rick Carlisle to Luka Doncic, whomever that is. If that's Jamal Mosley and he's the guy that fits with Luka Doncic, then you run with that because you want to make your superstar as comfortable as possible if he's going to be around here. And the best way you can do that is to find a coach that he trusts and believes in. And if that's Jamal Mosley, then you pull the trigger and you do it. If it's somebody else, then guess what? It's somebody else. But for all parties involved, I'm okay with it. Carlisle had a terrific run here, did his thing, won a championship, and now he gets to move on and continue his career, with his reputation intact. And I think that's important to him, but more important, I think it's important to the organization that he left, especially knowing how close he is with Donnie Nelson and how tied to the hip they were together. So I didn't think it would happen today.
Me neither. I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting this today.
I don't think any of us were looking around like, yeah, the Rick Carlisle is going to leave today. What? Like, no, we weren't expecting that. But I think we all had an idea that this was ultimately going to be the outcome. It's just how was it going to happen? And you give Carlisle credit for being proactive and taking it upon himself.
I just think Rick needs a veteran roster. I don't think young guys have never. This was and I hate that I didn't get a chance to ask him in the press conference at the beginning of the season, because my first question I wanted to ask him was, is this the youngest team you've ever coached in your life? And if so, how do you feel like you can relate to this team? That was my number one question I wanted to ask him, but I did not get a chance to ask him that.
Well, I think the biggest misconception of this team is that they're young. They're young from an experience standpoint when it comes to playoff experience. But we're talking about a team whose average age is around 27, 28 years old. Like, this isn't, a bunch of spring chickens, running around here for this basketball team. Yeah, you got Doncic at 22 and you got Porzingis at 25. But Tim Hardaway's near 30. Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, all these guys are in their late. Dorian Finney-Smith, 28, 29 years old. We're not talking about dudes that are, young age-wise, experience-wise, yeah. But this team is, age-wise, a little bit older than what folks want to give them credit for. But, again, another reason why to clean house and look at your situation, say we've got to do something different to build around. We got to get better players in here. Like, that's ultimately what it comes down to. We got to get a coach, got to get his GM, but more importantly, we got to get better players in here around Doncic because he's ready now. You got to find some other guys to come with him.
Well, I was just checking back here at the score. It looks like we're going to be having a game 7. So,
word.
Budenholzer just bought himself another week before Rick Carlisle becomes the head coach. So that announcement ain't coming. But I just look around the league and I'm like, well, where could Rick go that has a veteran presence? It's like the Lakers in Milwaukee. The Lakers, Milwaukee, Brooklyn. Those are the only teams that's really just got that veteran. I'm sorry, Portland. Portland's another team that he'd go to and be like, he fit in perfect Portland.
By the way, are you sure we're gonna have a game 7? Because Milwaukee only up 5 right now. So
okay. So Rick Carlisle might be getting hired tomorrow. Wait a minute, he might be getting hired tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tight right now, in the fourth quarter. So you might want to hang on to that before You know, things get a little more.
Listen. Doesn't Milwaukee want a run and gun offense? Don't they want a coach that's going off analytics? I got a great guy for him. I know a guy.
Bro, I don't know. Honestly,
Mike D'Antoni would be great for the Milwaukee Bucks. He'd be great for him.
After that debacle in Game 5 in the second half by Milwaukee, I don't know. Even if the Milwaukee Bucks, beat the Nets and lose in the Eastern Conference Finals or something, I don't know how Budenholzer survives. Short of a championship, I don't know how Budenholzer survives.
Matter of fact, D'Antoni's sitting over there on the bench watching the Milwaukee Bucks. You just take him back home with you. Just take D'Antoni back to the house with you. You don't have to go far. He's right there at the arena. Just take him back with you. Let's get this interview done. Matter of fact, let's get this interview done tonight. Let's get it out the way. Announce him as the head coach tomorrow if they lose. Let's do this, Milwaukee. Hey, you have my blessing.
How ironic, excuse me, would it be if Carlisle got to coach Giannis after Donnie wanted to bring him to Dallas and didn't get a chance to do it? How ironic would that be?
That would be great. Well, listen, man. Ironic. Thank you for joining me tonight. This is like chicken soup for my Maverick soul right here.
You got it, man.
I'm still scared. I'm still nervous, a little nauseous.
It's gonna be all right.
That this Mike D'Antoni guy can possibly. I don't even want to utter the words, man. I just don't even want to speak it into existence because I feel like that's what I'm doing.
Let it marinate. Just let it marinate in your spirit for a little bit.
I can't. Although, listen, you know me, I'm a sucker for dubs. Now there is a possibility. There's a small. You know me. I do some front running. I do a lot of front running in my old age. In my 30s, I do some front running. Now, we get a couple dubs. Go on a couple of streets. I might come back and say, you know what, D'Antoni isn't that bad of a guy at all. But right now, I don't want it. Right now, I don't want it. I'm out. I don't think you have to worry about D'Antoni becoming the head coach around here. I'd be shocked. If he was the head coach here. Listen, we were shocked that Rick Carlisle quit today, so nothing takes you by surprise. After this week, everything's on the table now. I would look if an announcement came tomorrow that Cuban was selling the Mavericks. Guess what? I wouldn't be shocked by it. Start the whole thing over. Just start it all over. Start over. Cuban gone. Carlisle gone. Donnie Nelson gone. Why not? Now, if that happens, Luka is definitely gone. If Mark Cuban sells the team tomorrow, he is definitely gone. He might be gone anyway after a few years. So. We're fine. We're fine. But hey, man, when's the next time you're gonna be on the radio? Do you know yet? Yes, I'll be on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. with Will Chambers and the two-time Hall of Famer Chris Arnold. Now on Saturday, you're gonna get some good behind-the-scenes stuff with Chris Arnold. Matter of fact, we might need to book Chris Arnold for next Tuesday on the show to find out some stuff behind the scenes. Yeah, I'm supposed to be talking to Chris at some point this evening because I know that he's got some thoughts on what's happened today too. I think everybody's still caught a little off guard after what happened earlier this afternoon, and I think folks are still trying to get their bearings about what happened. And but I'm sure I know for a fact that he will have plenty to say about it this upcoming. We're good. We're back up. Sure. Milwaukee's backup team. We're good. Oh, you sure? Okay. Yeah, they're back up 10. Listen, I wanted to text you this last week. I didn't get a chance to. I was wrapped up. But I want to commend you on a great job you did leading the morning show last week while Sean Sharif was out, man. I appreciate it, man. That did something to me. I'm happy that they gave you the opportunity. It was well deserved, and you drove it like you stole it last week. Hats off to you, man. I appreciate it, man. I commend you on everything you do up there. And that was just great to hear you, and not only that, a black man leading a show in the morning on a top market like that. That was big. I appreciate that, man. And I got a little emotional Saturday because not only did you that, but I heard Lucius doing a show on Saturday, and I was like, they're finally starting to understand. We got something to say too. We know what we're talking about. I was happy for my guy Lucius to get out there with Chris, man. They crushed it and they had a good time. And it was a damn good show. I listened to it. Yeah, Lucius will probably tell you I didn't want to do it anyway. I know Lucius likes to back my hand like, oh man, I didn't want to do it. I just did it because such and such. But yeah, man, hats off to you, man. And I appreciate it. I'm just so happy and impressed with everything you do, man. At that station, man, because you open. Not only do you open doors for us. It just gives us a good look that they feel like they can trust us, and they know that we're gonna come in here and give it just as much as our white counterpart will on that behind that microphone.
Well, I appreciate that, man. You know how much that means to me coming from you. And, I thank everyone who continues to support me and what I'm doing with the fan. And I could not be more thrilled to be working with who I work with. Chop and Troy made it real easy for me to come in. And
Lord Choppy.
Lord Choppy, right. Got to throw some respect on my guy, Lord Chop, doing this thing. Troy's one of the best in the game at what he does. And, guys like Gavin Spittle, Tim Collins, man, I appreciate what they've allowed me to do. And I try to take advantage of all my opportunities that I have and, just have some fun, talk some sports and give something for folks to talk about and have some fun with. So, but it's folks like you who continue to do what you do and be in this game. I thank you for continuing to be on your grind and inspiring folks like me to get out here and do what I do. So, much appreciated. Thank you for the kind words and much the same back to you because this show, I love this show because y'all have a lot of fun. Y'all say what y'all got to say. Y'all speak your minds. And honestly, as your show title is, it's what's best for business out here. So I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to share some space with you tonight, man. It was a lot of fun.
Anytime, brother. Anytime, man. Now, I'll be checking you out on Saturday, man. Make sure you check us out next week. We got some good stuff playing next week. We got some good stuff playing. You're gonna like it. But yeah, man. Thanks again to you, man. Brother, you have a good night. And everybody who's tuned in right now, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all the comments. Go subscribe to our YouTube page, BFB Mass, BFB DFW. Subscribe, hit the notification. Is it the gray area?
Kevin Gray Sports on YouTube. Subscribe there. Kevin Gray Sports on YouTube.
Go subscribe to his channel. Check out he does excellent work. You've heard it. Yeah. Do you put your post game stuff up on there, or you just do the show, right?
Yeah, I put all my post game stuff up on there. So if you go to Kevin Gray Sports on YouTube and subscribe there, you'll see all my post game stuff, and I got all my stuff up there. So you can follow me on Twitter, also at Kevin Gray Sports, and I got my stuff up there too. So,
thank you, Barry. It says great to see you guys. And great to see you guys and Kevin Gray together. Yes, always,
sir.
Anytime. Hey,
appreciate it.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you can't find Kevin's page, just go. If you go to my page, you click on any of the Mass post game videos that's on there, you'll hear him. You'll hear him. I promise you, you'll hear him.
Yeah.
You'll hear him. Go check him out. But hey, man, again, man, good night to you, brother, and thanks for doing this with me. Hey, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. Always do what's best for business. And if we don't see you around, then we'll see you around.